Godhead Sri Krishna, who exhibits himself in such manners by entering into each and every universe generated from him. But still, apparently, there are divisions of the controller and controlled. For example, in the food controlling department, the controller of the food is a person made up of the same ingredients as the person who is controlled. Similarly, each and every individual in the material world is controlled by the higher demigods. For example, we have our senses, but the senses are controlled by superior controlling deities. We cannot see without light, and the supreme controller of light is the sun god. The sun god is in the sun planet, and we, the individual human beings, or any other being on the earth, are all controlled by sun god as far as our eyes are concerned. Similarly, all the senses we have are controlled by superior demigods, who are also as much living entities as we are. But one is empowered while the other is controlled. The controlled living entity is called as the adhyātmic person, and the controller is called as the adhidaivic person. All these positions in the material world are due to different fruitive activities. Any individual living being can become the sun god or even Brahma or an other demigods in the upper planetary system by a higher grade of pious work. And similarly, one becomes controlled by the higher demigods, by the lower grades of fruitive activities. So every individual living entity is subjected to the supreme control of Paramātmā, who puts everyone in different positions of controller and controlled. That which distinguishes the controller and the controlled, that is material body, is called ādhibhautic puruṣaḥ. The body is sometimes called as puruṣa, and as confirmed in Vedas in the following hymns: Sava esha puruṣo anna rasamayaha. This body is called as anna rasa, embodiment. This body depends on food. The living entity which is embodied does not eat anything, however, because the owner is the spirit in essence. The material body requires replacement of matter for wearing and tearing of the mechanical body. Therefore, the distinction between the individual living entity and controlling planetary deities is the Annarasamaya body. The sun may have a gigantic body, and the man may have a smaller body. But all these visible bodies are made up of matter. Nonetheless, the sun god and the individual person who are related as the controller and controlled are the same spiritual parts and parcels of the Supreme Being. And it is the Supreme Being who places different parts and parcels in different positions. And thus, the conclusion is that Supreme Person is the shelter of all. Hare Krishna. So, this is the purport by Srila Prabhupada trying to explain this three words: adhyātmic person, adhidaivic person, and adhibhautic. Okay, so let's understand this. by a purport of Srila Prabhupada. So, our body has many senses, and the person possessing these senses is called as adhyātmic person. And then all these senses are dependent on higher authorities. Like eyes, we have the eyes, so we are adhyātmic, but then the eyes can only see if there is a light. And then light is controlled by a sun god. So the sun god is adhidaivic. We are adhyātmic. And the sharira is called as adhibhautic. Actually, there are three types of miseries: adhidaivic, adhibhautic, and adhyātmic misery. So, adhidaivic misery is the misery caused by demigods like hurricane or storm or earthquake. All these are adhidaivic. Adhibhautic is the problems which are caused by some other person, like a mosquito or some other enemy will come and attack you. That is adhibhautic. And adhyātmic is the problems caused by our own self, mind. Similarly, these are the three personalities. Okay, so ourselves as a spirit person, we are called adhyātmic. Our body is adhibhautic, and the demigods are adhidaivic. And the Krishna is the supreme controller, who is in charge of all the three elements. Adhidaivic, adhibhautic, and adhyātmic are controlled by Lord Krishna himself. And all the Devi Devtas, they are adhidaivic, and they reach that position because of their pious activities. And any living entity can become any particular demigod or Devi Devta depending upon their pious activities in this life. So thus a very nice shloka where Shukadev Goswami is explaining the different types of controllers and controlled people. So Adhidaivik is the controller, and adhibhautic and adhyātmic are the controlled living entities. Okay? Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hridaya Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.